Well, good morning. Want to welcome you to our makeup session. And the title this morning is Process versus Outcome. And this is a distinction that I learned from my coach, Steve Chandler, and it was quite helpful. And what's really exciting about this is uh, goal setting for most people, and I'm a coach, so I'm all about goals, is just really a mishmash of things. Um, I personally find still have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with my goals. You hear it from everybody that if you're going to really be successful or you're going to be effective, that you really need to set goals and be good at setting goals. And we're certainly all about that. We got a few more joining here. So, what I want to go through today is this distinction of process versus outcome. I want to thank the Portsmouth, Ohio Chamber and the Maysville Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring these events. And want to also mention that all of the past events for the last several years have been recorded and are on YouTube, and those links are on my website. So we encourage you to go there and look through that sometime. It's a great refresher and a great summary of really the work that I've done for the last 22 years. So, and that's all available to you at no cost and free. So let's move forward here and talk about the rules of the game. I always like to start here and put this in reference to our subject. Our subject is goals today, how to love and enjoy your goals and be effective with your goals. And I'm saying it's learning this distinction between process and outcome. You agree to own it. Here's where I want to specifically challenge you with that rule of the game. I want you to think of the goals that you've set over your lifetime, over your career, maybe recently, and how you're doing with those. Certainly, I want you to think about how many of those goals you achieved and how many of those goals did you achieve in a manner that was kind of how you planned it. I think sometimes I've set goals and then I forget about them and I realize that I have attained them later. And that's a blessing. We're not really talking about that kind of goal attainment today. We're talking about teams and organizations and even your personal life where you really have a challenge. You really have something you want to do as a team and you want to get there. How can we make that effective, enjoyable, and be more of a game and less shame? I think my experience with most organizations and their ownership of goals, here's how they typically do it. They set their goals every year and they put them in a drawer or in a file or maybe in the garbage and they just kind of forget about them. And then the annual performance comes along or the annual review comes along and I got to find those goals and gee, they've been forgotten many, many months ago and we kind of got some of them done and we didn't really work on this one and everything's changed so much, blah, blah, blah. I want you to own the fact and take responsibility and accountability for the fact that I'm not going to do goals like that anymore. I'm going to give that practice up today. I'm no longer going to be a victim to the typical New Year's resolution story of we start and we work on them for a few days or weeks and then we forget them, or they just take a back burner and they're not all that important. And they really just become like a flea or a fly or a gnat or an insect that bothers me. We're going to get rid of that mentality and we're going to own these things and we're going to love them. Now, just asking you to participate in this today, to be open minded this today, to drop your I know about goals. Most people that attend things like this are goal setters and they appreciate goals at some level. All your learning and past learning about goals, for now, set it aside and just have some fun today. We want to turn this into a game. We want to turn this into something that not only you will enjoy, but your team will enjoy and look forward to. Could it really happen that my team could look forward to setting and attaining goals? Could that actually be one of the most enjoyable things in my job and my career? It can. But you have to get this distinction between process versus outcome. It's the key to enjoying achieving goals. Can you believe me that in the next 20 minutes you're going to learn how to turn this whole process into something enjoyable and useful and effective? Well, what if that
Uh-huh.
could happen?
I got a
So,
question.
Okay.
You mean to wait?
Yeah, I'm in a meeting. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just
Yep.
wait.
I'm encouraging you all to think about that as we go on to our first point here. Let's do some definitions. What do I mean by outcome? Ought to be obvious, but I don't assume anything. An outcome goal defines your destination. So we're going to go on vacation and we're going to go to California. If we go from here and we drive, that's quite a number of stops. There's a lot involved in getting to California in an automobile. But the destination is clear. We're going to go to this town, this place, this location. We want to arrive about at this time, this day. We have a reservation at a hotel or a bed and breakfast or an Airbnb, and we have a check-in time. So we have a clear destination and a clear time to get there. What we probably haven't done at this point, if we're kind of new in the process, has planned the whole trip. And so an outcome goal is just the destination. Probably in your all's context, you've done annual goals in the fact. Where do we want to be next year at this time? You can do a 5-year outcome goal. You can even do a 30-day outcome goal. Where do we want to be a month from today? Even a week from today can be an outcome goal. Outcome is so different than process. They work together like north and south and up and down and light and dark. I mean, the two are complement one another. If you take away half of it, you take away the process piece, outcome goals become nightmares or wastes of time. That's a strong statement. I'm going to say it again. If you take away process from outcome in goal setting, your goal setting becomes at best a waste of time, or you just write down what you're going to do anyway, so you get credit. So it's really not really helping you that much. And at worst, it becomes a guilt trip, a depressing, discouraging, because I have this goal in front of me all the time that I'm not attaining and that I'm messing up on and that I'm falling short of. So let's just say there's a lot of funkiness around outcome goals. If I'm not going to really get there, then that's kind of discouraging. I know there's a lot of different philosophies about how to look at this, but just stay with me today. If you want to own the fact that your goal setting has not always been enjoyable and effective and fulfilling, then we're going to fix that today. I'm not going to fix it. This distinction will fix it. So an outcome goal without a systematic process is useless and can even be counterproductive. In other words, I'm telling you that just setting goals is a bad idea. If you don't take the whole package here, that I think goals tend to work more against people than they do for people. That's been my experience as a coach for 24 years or so. People want to hire a coach to set and attain goals. They figure that's what you're going to do as a coach. Help them set goals and hold them accountable to attain those goals. Certainly there's a little bit of truth to that, but the fact is I have learned through the years for myself and for those I coach, goal setting, it's fun when you're doing it sometimes, because you dream a little bit, but then you get back to the real world and it gets set aside at best, or at worst, it haunts you and it's something that's hung over your head. And we want to get rid of that story today. I want to get you a brand new story that we're going to do the process and the outcome goal setting, and it's going to be amazing. Let's move on and see that. A structured stepwise system is the process we're talking about. We don't want to attack people. We want the system to be the heavy. What are the steps, process, instructions that need to be done to move effectively and efficiently toward the goal? Because the devil is in the details and the success is in the steps. It's not in the goal. The outcome goal lets you set direction. It lets you set compass. It lets you get clear on where you want to go. But the working on to get the system to get there is what really makes it happen, the process. And then, folks, once you have your outcome clear and you've established your system, your steps, your process to get there, then we come to the C word, commitment. Not intention. There must be a commitment from each team member that's involved in the process and the system to complete assigned actions every step of the way. So you're going to have a series of steps. I'm calling each step a check-in. Maybe it's going to be every week. Maybe it's going to be every 2 weeks. Maybe it's going to be every morning. I don't know how big your steps are going to be time-wise, but you set a series of steps, check-ins, where every time we check in, we're making a commitment. What's a commitment? It's going to happen. And we always are committing to a step. We're not committing to the goal. We're committing to the process. We're committing to a system, which is an action. Each assigned action step has to be smart. So I don't really believe in smart outcome goals. I think that's murky and confusing to put these adjectives on outcomes. I think they work beautifully for steps. So I'm sitting in my team meeting with my people, and we're working on this big, hairy, audacious honking goal for the year. And we've got the next step to take over the next week. So I've got 5 people on my team. Each of those people at that commitment meeting, that check-in, is going to walk away with a specific step to take, action to take. They're not committing to the outcome. They're committing to the next step. It's going to be a measurable, objective step. It's going to be achievable by the next check-in. It's not going to be maybe I can do it or I can do it if. It's going to be I absolutely can get that done by our next meeting. And it's going to be relevant to the outcome that we're trying to achieve. It's not going to be just some step to do to check a box. It's going to be a step that's going to take us towards that destination. And it's time bound, or there's going to be a time frame built into the process that we're talking about, because we've got a next date where we're going to check back in and go through the same process. So we're recommitting every week or every 2 weeks or every third day or whatever your time frame is. That's the process to a new step. Each person on the team, it's who does what by when. This, my friends, is the beauty and the transformation of making goals your friend and very helpful. When you bring the outcome down to process, which is a process of steps and commitments, not intentions, And a regular accountability that's at that check-in is going to drive the momentum. That's the fuel in the tank. And each check-in, what are we going to do at the check-in? We're going to validate the completion of the previously assigned actions. This takes a huge trust in a team. We're not trying to attack or embarrass people or make them feel bad. A little bit of good feeling is fine. But what we're trying to do is validate that everybody on the team has taken their step, because these steps are all what's needed to get to the goal achievement. So we're going to validate that everybody on this team is committed to doing their part. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant parts. Then we're going to update the action plan. Well, each person, what do they need to do what by the next check-in specifically? Dave, this sounds like a lot of minutia and micromanagement work. I'll just tell you what, are you sick of the goals that just get mushy and don't get done and we lose accountability and traction? I'm offering something that's maybe a little bit more work, a little more focus, but you know what? It works. We assign leaders, it's a collaborative process as well, the next action steps to each member. Now, each member needs to agree that they understand clearly what the step is they're supposed to take. They know how it's going to be determined that they've taken that step. It's measurable. They are telling you that it's absolutely achievable by that next check-in date. They have to believe and know that they can accomplish that step. And the step has to be relevant to the project. We're not just assigning things to make people feel good. We're giving them significant steps that need to be taken. And the time bound is you're not going to try to get it done by next Friday. You're going to have it when we meet next Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. after lunch. Everybody will have their step completed. Now, there's a lot of questions that come up. What if a person isn't getting their steps done? Well, they don't understand commitment, or they don't get the whole process of what we're doing. There can be a lot of issues. They were just going along to get along in the meeting, but they weren't really understanding, or they weren't really committed. As a coach, you need to get beneath that when that happens once or twice and fix it, find out what's happening. And then this accountability step is securing commitment from each team member to complete their assigned action by the next check-in. Each action is identifies clearly who the person is, what they're going to do by that next check-in. Now, if you leave an accountability meeting with that level of clarity, and as the leader, if you're sitting with a group of 5 or 6 people or 10 people, and I've done this, you go around the room and you look at each person. Margie, do you understand what you need to do, and are you committed? Ralph, give me what your step is and what you're going to do. That's what we need to have. So I just want to summarize this. Outcome, goal is destination. System and process is what's needed to get there. The system is a series of commitments that are made on a regular period of time, and each team member is committed to specific steps that they absolutely take. And we check in at regular intervals of accountability to assure all the team members that everybody's taking their steps. That's it. Well, Dave, that's just common sense, right? But is that what you do? Are you going to own the fact? Is that what your organization, what your teams look like? I know there's lots of questions that you might have about how that system that I just gave you might work or might be challenging, and that's the real world, and I coach in the real world. But you have to start with an ideal. You have to start with something that makes sense, that will and can work, and then you need to address the challenges and overcome them, and then you get the outcome. Now, What if you don't achieve the outcome goal by the date set? How close did you get? Did you go that direction? Are you on the road? We just didn't quite make it to the destination. Well, then maybe that can be extended with some other action steps. But if it's an important destination, what if you've got bosses and supervisors and management and organization that is continually changing the goals? That's another issue. I'm just giving you a system of when you have a team that's clear about where they want to go and you're committed to getting there, you don't just commit to outcomes, you commit more importantly to the accountability and the steps that each person on the team takes regularly, and there's an accountability for that. So I hope that helps. You want this slide? Be glad to send it to you. Got some other articles that go with it. Email me if you want that. Second, more articles, more YouTube links, more events that are recorded. There's a special one that's just been recorded that I did for an organization that they allowed me to post it. You might want to check that out. And third, if you just want to have a conversation about this and ask some questions, email me and we'll set up a Zoom connect and we'll talk like this one-to-one and discuss your situation. That may lead to me being more involved. It may not lead to me being more involved, but certainly I think you'll benefit from our time together. So that is what I have for you today. I hope that's been a blessing and a help. We'll see you at the next one, and I apologize for this one being out of sync, that I messed up. I forgot to push one little button on my setup last time and you all didn't get the link, but glad to see you today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.